You're listening to America's Web Radio, AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
It's 2 o'clock, but we are not in America's Web Radio facility. Mm-hmm. We're in a new studio that you are installing at your home.
Yes.
But
you really have to tell them.
Yes, we have to tell them. Okay, this is the next step on this program.
We are in America's Web Radio.
Yes.
And
America's Web.
Let's talk
Venezuelan.
Okay. Right. So what's the news this week, Carlos?
Oh my. Okay. The dictatorship of Nicolás Maduro seized the headquarters of the Venezuelan newspaper El Nacional.
No.
Officials from the Bolivarian National Guard and the judiciary entered the building of the media outlet in Caracas.
When?
On Friday, Nicolás Maduro's dictatorship seized the headquarters of the newspaper El Nacional, one of the last opposition media that persist in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. Officials from the Bolivarian National Guard and the judiciary arrived at the newspaper's building in Caracas and an embargo order.
That was in May 14, right? Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
Miguel Enrique Otero, president of the newspaper, indicated in his tweet account that a judge surrounded by National Guards has taken the El Nacional building and seized everything. Today, we see an illegal, unfair process again. Another attack against the newspaper El Nacional, expressed the newspaper George Macrionotti's manager in a video on social network. Almost 78 years of promoting socialism history bringing real information to the country. Democracy lives in there.
You are too much. Why are you gonna say that? Promoting socialism.
Because the Otero family is a socialist.
They have a socialist mentality.
They have a track record. The newspaper was founded by the father of Miguel Otero Silva.
78 years ago.
78 years ago.
And finally the socialists got
the power and okay.
So they promote the socialists and they endorse this in whatever belongs to them.
They lost everything on socialism.
Okay. Would that happen in the United States?
Democracy lives when there is freedom of expression. Today they are seizing us. They are taking away our goods for alleged damage. This is completely illegal. It is an attack on democracy, he added.
Please.
The embargo is the result of a complaint about moral damage made by the Chavista Diosdado Cabello, the second most powerful man in the Venezuelan dictatorship. In 2018, an executed by the Fourth Court of the Ordinary Municipality and Executor of Measure of the Judicial District of the Metropolitan Area of Caracas, according to the report by El Nacional. The Cassation Chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice of Venezuela, TSJ, ruled in favor of Cabello and ordered the company Editora El Nacional, owner of the newspaper, to pay 237,000 petros, about $13,366,800 to the Chavista official. 13 million.
$13 million for them is nothing.
Nothing.
You know, they make a lot of money. I mean,
okay.
from nothing.
This kind of suit here, you have to calculate the moral damage.
The moral damage. Okay.
But everybody knows in the world that Diosdado Cabello, he's a drug trafficker.
It's not about the money. It's about to take the communication, the building, the instruments, the equipment away from those people who supposedly being the opposition.
Yeah, supposedly.
Okay.
78 years promoting socialism, and now.
But now Diosdado don't want socialism anymore. No. That's why he's taking the stuff away from them.
No,
he don't want socialism anymore. He wants communism.
Well,
78 years promoting socialism, end up in communism.
Yeah, but
and the democracy concept promoted socialism, and the socialism
goes into communism.
You know, bring the communism.
Well, of course,
that's making sense.
It's the next stage.
So I don't know why these countries are democracy. Like Venezuela. I got into a conversation last week. And this guy, I am a catedrático. I am a professor from university. You are wrong. United States is a democracy. Sir, United States is not a democracy. I live here over 30 years. America is a constitutionalist republic. No, because Biden say in his speech is a democracy. Sir, you might be reading whatever you are getting the information from. I am living in here. There is a big fight. There's a big fight going on here in America. In the grassroots movement, they are fighting back the concept of democracy because democracy is opposite to our constitution.
Exactly.
It's an opposite. It's a natural enemy.
There is no mention of democracy
in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights, in the Declaration of Independence Declaration.
There is
nothing like that as a democracy.
Do you remember that guy that said that the United States was a representative democracy?
Oh my God! I got into him and he didn't like it. And I told the lawyers that how you are allowing this guy saying that big lie? Don't you know the Constitution of the United States? Why are you lying to these people, telling them that America is a democracy? What's wrong with you? They did not provoke that meeting anymore. They start hating me.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I was defending the America way of living, the America
way of life, of course.
Which is founded in the Constitution.
But talking about founded, El Nacional was founded in 1943 and is one of the main newspapers in Venezuela. His relationship with Chavismo, in power since 1999, has always been tense and consequently suffered numerous persecution by the Hugo Chavez regime and later by Nicolas Maduro. But let me tell you something. This is the discussion about my socialism is better than yours.
Yeah, it's only a discussion about which one is better.
Exactly.
That's it.
But it's
still socialism. It's still socialism.
It's a fight among socialists.
Exactly. Remember, in Venezuela, never, they are allowed
since 1936
a right political party or movement.
No, exactly.
To exist among the political arena. Okay? No. So everything you hear, not the opposition, that's a big lie. All of them are socialists. Okay, keep going.
They are the right of the left.
They are at the right of the left. Yeah, that's right.
That's the right of the left.
Yeah,
Since 2014, it has had difficulties obtaining foreign currency from the regime to be able to import paper, which has made it difficult to continue its printed edition.
Wait a minute. Do you remember when they were doing lines to the paper, toilet paper?
Yeah.
Okay, during that time, 4 months later, that's when the crisis of the paper, the paper for printing, newspaper, they finished with that. So in Venezuela, there is no more paper for printing.
But let me explain you something. Well, I think I will explain you this this matter after the messages, because there is a twist in this history.
In this,
Take it
okay.
away. No, no.
If you live to serve and want to make an even bigger difference, consider joining the U.S. Army. With training in fields like medical care, linguistics, and engineering, an Army career can amplify your efforts with humanitarian opportunities all over the world. Plus, you'll receive competitive pay and incredible benefits, so you'll be taken care of, too. Learn more at GoArmy.com.
Whether cruising the Strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
Hello, my name is Rick White, and I'm the director of the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. I want to encourage all Georgia veterans to consider being nominated to the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. And if you are a Georgia veteran, and the definition of a Georgia veteran is either you were born in the state of Georgia, or you've lived here 10 years, or you were raised to right and joined the military in this state, you are considered a Georgia veteran. For further information, go to www.gmvhof.org, or you can contact me at 678-427-0915. We'd love to have your nomination for the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. Thank you so much.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the americasbroadcastnetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
We're back. We are in Let's Talk Venezuelan. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something. Mm-hmm. These people from the press, mm-hmm. you know, the owners of the newspapers, mm-hmm. they depend so much on the government for the last 50 years.
Oh, the government, government daddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
That is giving them foreign currency to be able to import paper. But let me tell you something. In the 1960s, we began a plan named the Uberito Forest. Okay, where we plant there is allowed about 200,000 hectares mm-hmm. of Caribbean pine, mm-hmm. and they do that because the original plan mm-hmm. was that these people like El National, El Universal, El Mundo, mm-hmm. this la cadena Capriles y el grupo de armas, mm-hmm. they suppose to create an industry to produce
their own paper.
Yes.
And they took advantage of those money and never produced
Bingo!
Nothing. So they enriched themselves by taking those preference dollar.
Yeah.
Enrich themselves and still not
left,
producing.
And left no
manufacturing, no nothing.
Nothing.
Why Latinos have to behave this way?
Because they are socialists.
Exactly. This is only about stealing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
In 2015, Cabello sued El Nación and other media for moral damages after being linked to drug trafficking in numerous publications. Mm-hmm. Cabello, Maduro, and the entire Chavista leadership have been accused multiple times of having ties to the so-called Cartel de los Soles, okay. a criminal organization made up of the Venezuela government and army officials of cocaine and other illegal activities. Miguel Enrique Otero said, the regime expropriated El Nacional to hand it over to Diosdado Cabello. The director and president of the media, in conversation with Infobae, denounced that the Chavista dictatorship violated all legal processes to seize the newspaper building and used force.
Diosdado Cabello, what happened is, this is what happened with Diosdado Cabello. He needed to own some kind of media because he owned buildings, he owned flocks,
And,
he owned,
and
boats,
and
he owned airplanes.
and he has the power on the official TV station.
Exactly. So now he was saying, well, I am missing, something is missing that I supposed to be a owner.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let me get my hands on the national, because they were saying a lot of bad things about me being the drug lord, and this and that, and they damaged my
image.
my moral.
Yeah.
My image.
Dios cagado cabello. Okay. Luego, in that interview with Marcos Colombo, Miguel Enrique Otero, the journalist and director of the Venezuelan newspaper El Nacional, denounced that Nicolás Maduro regime seized the prestigious media outlet with the intention of handing it over to Diosdado Cabello for his usufruct.
Usefruct.
Okay.
Oh my Lord.
Otero spoke from Spain.
That's exactly what the socialists do. They use things that belongs to the government for their own interest.
Exactly.
Okay?
Otero spoke from Spain, where he is exiled, and explained that how the Chavista dictatorship has carried out the embargo against the newspaper in a new form of takeover, different from those used by the late former President Hugo Chavez. When they closed Radio Caracas Televisión.
Question.
Uh-huh.
When Chavez started becoming and raising as a star, as a messiah, as the one, did they national help him out to be the solution of Venezuela?
No.
They didn't cooperate on that situation?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Okay.
All the media
Uh-huh.
conspire against the system.
But bringing the same system but a little harder.
Yes.
Okay.
When they closed Radio Caracas Televisión at the beginning of the Chavez government, they expropriated it and made a state channel.
Mm-hmm.
The president of the medium denounced that this time the measure was taken for the personal use of Diosdado Cabello,
Yes.
vice president of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, and whom Otero considers to be the man who has the most power in Venezuela.
More than Nicolas.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the one who administrates the drug money. Maduro is negotiating with Spain a new opening, the elections, but Diosdado controls, said Otero. In addition, the director of the El Nacional assured that Cabello controls the court,
Of course.
the party, the party apparatus, the repression, the income, because his brother controlled the taxes. And he is the spokesperson because he has a program every Wednesday when he throws all aggressive lines. So he has the power, said Otero, who added that Maduro will have the ministers and the Cubans and the FARC and the ELN, but Diosdado has the real power. That's the reality. Officials from the National Guard and the judiciary who respond to the interests of the Maduro regime arrived this Friday at the newspaper building in Caracas, together with an embargo order. Faced with this situation, Miguel Enrique Otero denounced that in this process, everything that is due process violate. He also said that when the agents arrived in the newspaper, we were not ready for that. After 3 years, they are not ready to be invaded. Oh, please. I received that order from the court, and you know what I do? I burn it down completely.
Yeah, but they are playing games.
They are playing games.
They are playing games.
This is
something is cooking that they are distracting
Yes.
What's cooking with this expropriation of the national newspaper?
No, let me finish this because you will laugh out loud.
Okay.
Okay. Faced with this situation, Miguel Enrique Otero denounced that in this process, everything that is due process violated. Okay, we are not ready for that. Some men are involved in the bosses run by Diosdado Cabello, who says, you have to get out of here because this is a university. The later part of the constant threats that Cabello has been reiterating since he proposed taking over the media facilities. He appealed to the excuse that he wants to do the use of the newspaper headquarters to create a journalism school. You don't need that. You have the Universidad Central that is the el semillero de los comunistas. Okay, don't worry about that. If they are hard pressed, do not want to pay the headquarters building of the El Nacional, if the cost considered it so, will be handed over to this one who is here, referring to himself. I will immediately sign for that building to become the headquarters of the University of Communications. Cabello threatened during his television program broadcast to the state channel Venezolana de Televisión. It's a medieval thing, he says, that he is going to set up a journalism school, that he is going to use the newspaper to make a newspaper for him, which is going to be called Within the Mazo Given, exclaimed Otero, before the pretension of the number 2 of the Chavismo. This is not the first attack suffered by El Nacional, but a socialist regime. The newspaper came to a halt after 2 decades of hard confrontation with the governments of the late Hugo Chavez and Nicolás Maduro, which dozens of media disappeared.
Yeah.
By 2013, the newspaper faced severe problems with the regime created a corporation that monopolized the import and sales of newsprints. More than half of the 134 newspapers circulating in Venezuela at the time stopped printing, according to the NGO Espacio Público, a defender of the press, of the freedom of press. The audiovisual media have not been oblivious of what the national unions of press workers call escalation against freedom of expression. In 2017, 52 radios and 8 television channels went off the air, including CNN. Seeking to survive, El Nacional received donations and paper loans from the Grupo de Diarios de América, which includes, among others, La Nación de Argentina, O Globo Brasil, and El Mercurio Chile. El Nacional, who had 72 pages in 5 sections and several magazines, had reduced its editions to 16 pages and limited its circulation to 5 days a week. The print run dropped to around 5,000 copies a day compared to the 250,000 it recorded in 2014 on weekends to save paper. So they only printed once a week in the weekends. Okay, 75 years of resistance are gone on a night defined an hiatus. The cessation of circulation of the reference newspaper in Venezuela has an unprecedented event. You could perceive a nostalgic atmosphere in the corridors of the newspaper. There were smiles of the achievements for more than 7 decades, but there were also long faces for never again waiting for the press to close every night. And with this, we have to go to commercial
To a
break, and we'll be back.
Hey folks, this is Victor with the On Point with Victor show. Make sure you listen every Tuesday 1 to 2, only right here on America's Web Radio, the On Point with Victor show. Remember folks, I'm not angry, I'm just right. And you can find out why every Tuesday from 1 to 2, the On Point with Victor show, only right here on America's Web Radio.
If you live to serve and want to make an even bigger difference, consider joining the U.S. Army. With training in fields like medical care, linguistics, and engineering, an Army career can amplify your efforts with humanitarian opportunities all over the world. Plus, you'll receive competitive pay and incredible benefits, so you'll be taken care of, too. Learn more at GoArmy.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, join me, Roger B., every Tuesday at 1400 hours right here on America's Web Radio for the Locked and Loaded Show. We will talk about guns, weapons, ammo, gun accessories, prepping, and so much more. So be sure to join us every Tuesday at 1400 or 2 p.m. for Locked and Loaded on America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello, we're back. Alejandra Otero, daughter of the owner of El Nacional and an important group of renowned Venezuelan journalists in the newspaper's newsroom, on the day of its last printed publication in 2018.
3 years ago.
Yes. Thus began the article published by the newspaper on the feeling of journalists and media workers before the fate accomplished. The last printed edition of the newspaper, El Nacional, circulated on Friday, April 14, 2018. The lack of paper, political pressure, and economic devastation take this benchmark of the Venezuelan press with 75 years of history off the street. So, right now, El Nacional, it's not a newspaper.
It's a web now.
It's a web. It's only a web. Okay? So, in reality, they're taking over an empty building and a press. But if you don't know how to operate the press,
They know. They're communists. You know how they use propaganda. They know how to use all that.
I hope that the people of El Nacional take some specific part of the press in order to stop for good the machine. I know how to do it. Remember that my mom worked for 50 years in press. Okay?
Yeah, but these people, look, Diosdado Cabello has all the money, he got all the money that somebody can have. He can buy anything to get done
it will cost him a lot because he's marked in the international. He's with the red Interpol thing, so he cannot go out from Venezuela. He's a market man, and eventually he will.
What I'm saying is that he's gonna have so many people working for him to get successful. To be a successful owner of El Nacional.
Oh yeah.
But instead of they promoting soft socialism, they're gonna start promoting now and justifying the actions of the hard socialism, which is communism. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the newspaper is a web. They cut our paper supply for 2 years, and we were able to prolong the agony for another year because they gave us some newspaper. But in a moment, we stopped printing and became a web. Now we can make the web in Philippines. You see?
Yeah.
A newspaper is one thing and a web is another, says Miguel Otero.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what he's gonna do, Diosdado? He's gonna block anything coming from Philippines.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the Venezuelans cannot get in hold of the newspaper that he's doing online. That's what they do. You remember China?
Yeah.
How they control the people, what they can see and what they cannot can see? It's gonna happen the same thing in
the
Venezuela.
same thing,
In
because
2015, Cabello sued the newspaper for defamation and
after
after replicating a Spanish media report that linked him to drug trafficking. Okay? The court dismissed similar lawsuit against ABC in Spain, right? And the Wall Street Journal in the United States, in those countries. But they did prosper against local media fine in Venezuela.
Yeah, last April, the Supreme Court of Justice of Venezuela, which responds to Maduro's interest, ordered the newspaper to pay more than $13 million to Cabello as compensation for alleged moral damage.
¿Qué moral? What moral? He don't have no
He
moral.
doesn't have one.
According to the judgment of the civil cassation chamber, the Venezuelan newspaper had to pay the Chavista 237,000 petros, which is, we already talked about that.
A
right?
cryptocurrency launched by Nicolas Maduro in 2018 and which is sanctioned by the United States. At the exchange value of the day, the Central Bank of Venezuela under the control of the regime. But there is something very curious.
Mm-hmm.
The petro is linked with the price of oil. So
it's petróleo.
yeah,
Petro. I was thinking that they honor Petro guy from Colombia, the
one
drug
petro,
dealer.
one petro is equivalent to 1 barrel of oil.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Look what it says from Russia.
No, that's another news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you don't pay in cash, we have to execute the assets to compensate for damages.
Oh,
Okay, my question is which damages?
his moral.
What moral?
He doesn't have no moral.
So
They
that's
are just getting rid of whatever because they don't have nothing else to do. Remember, socialists create crisis and chaos
yeah.
to distract. Okay? And then they come with the solution, more government control.
Cabello threatened because I do have morals. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, drug trafficking, drug laws have their own moral,
Mm-hmm.
And he may be big a good pana of the El Chapo Guzman or those things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? For this reason, the Maduro dictatorship on Friday seized the headquarters of the newspaper, one of the last independent media that persist in Venezuela.
Yeah, but they make a lot of money out of the regime too because they were having preference dollar.
Yes. I have been in Madrid since this trial began. I cannot return. I am in exile, said the director of El Nacional, who fears that just as the dictatorship illegally threw itself against the assets of the environment, they may be also attacked against his integrity. However, and despite of instigation of the Chavista regime, Miguel Enrique Otero made it clear that El Nacional is going to continue making complaints against Diosdado, as we have always done. Okay, here we can say that this chapter it's over. Okay, but they're complaining about what?
Man, they make money for 80 years. They make millions.
Yeah.
Okay? By using the government to enrich themselves.
Yeah.
By doing the newspaper.
They supposed to.
Now, because he took it away from them, now they have to find out the way that they really have to work. And they have to invest their own money.
They supposed 50 years ago to create the paper mills.
That's what I'm saying. Now they really have to work now. Now they have to invest their own money. It's not like it's good. You create a business and it's good for you to buy and give you a check so you can pay the expenses of your business.
Exactly.
Okay? But when Biden cut your check, what are you gonna do with your own business? You're gonna start investing on your business from your own pocket.
Exactly.
If you want your business to continue to be successful.
Bingo.
Okay? This is the reality of Otero. He's complaining because now he has to use his millions
To produce.
invested in his own company because he don't have no more support from Maduro or Chavez regime.
This guy Cabello didn't took over the brand of El Nacional. He just took over the
building
and the press.
That's it.
But the
copyright and all that is still the Otero.
Exactly.
That's why he said that he's gonna open it in Filipinas.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
now he's upset because now he has to take from his pocket and put the money to make his business go. Now he's gonna find out how hard it is to be a business owner, because a business owner usually they don't have help from government
Exactly.
to create a business to make your business successful after the first 2 years.
The model in Venezuela is mercantilism.
Is the government help me out to open a business? Man, I want to have a business like that too. I don't have to invest my money from my pocket.
Exactly.
Okay? No. Biden and Maduro is going to give me a check every month. And now, if I'm not mistaken, they were receiving a paper for 2 years from Argentina, from Chile, from Brazil. They were sending them papers so they can keep on printing.
Yes.
Excuse me?
Exactly. When they supposed to
Already develop that
industry.
That industry.
Because that was the plan 50 years ago.
Yeah,
and
but
they didn't
they didn't do nothing. They took the money and run with it.
Yes.
The same thing with El Guaire.
Yeah.
Okay, the cleaning the black water. The same thing. They didn't do nothing. They took the money and go. Yeah. Everything in Venezuela is like that. It's not only in Venezuela. You're gonna start seeing that here in America too.
Oh yes.
Okay, you're gonna start seeing that. They're taking the money to do something. A lot of NGO, a lot of programs, and let me tell you,
you don't remember the times because you were not here. I was when there were a scandal in the Hill because the Lockheed Martin charged $100 for an ashtray in a plane.
Okay.
$100
for
an ashtray.
What is an ash?
Yeah.
Okay.
In a plane.
Okay.
And a piece that doesn't cost more than $25 to 25 cents.
Why they were charging $100?
Well.
Because it's the government who's paying for that.
Yes.
You see, it's the same thing when they build a road. It's the same thing when they build something, a bridge.
Yeah.
It's always 3 or 4 times more the prices that it's supposed to cost.
Yes.
Remember the skating ring in New York? How many years?
9 years.
In the building?
9 years.
Never finished?
Never finished.
Until who came in and finished it?
Donald J. Trump, and finished in 7 months.
You see?
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is what is communism, socialism is all about. So they are complaining. Now I figured out why he's complaining. Because he has to invest his own money in his own company.
Yeah.
But
and he must be competitive.
And he must be competitive. He want to be open.
Yes, if he wants to
okay?
be open.
He was making a lot of money because he was the only newspaper open in Venezuela for the last 5 years. He was making money.
Yeah.
Okay? He was the only one. He got a monopoly.
Yeah.
Now they're closed. Now, Diosdado wants the monopoly. So now it's time for you to go. And Diosdado is going to take care of that because Diosdado is going to use the money from the government to make more money for him.
And how many houses and hotels he must do in this monopoly game? We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Hello, my name is Rick White, and I'm the director of the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. I want to encourage all Georgia veterans to consider being nominated to the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. And if you are a Georgia veteran, and the definition of a Georgia veteran is either you were born in the state of Georgia, or you've lived here 10 years, or you were raised to right hand and joined the military in this state, you are considered a Georgia veteran. For further information, go to www.gmbhof.org, or you can contact me at 678-427-0915. We'd love to have your nomination for the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, join me, Roger B., every Tuesday at 1400 hours right here on America's Web Radio for the Locked and Loaded Show. We will talk about guns, weapons, ammo, gun accessories, prepping, and so much more. So be sure to join us every Tuesday at 1400 or 2 p.m. for Locked and Loaded on America's Web Radio.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the americasbroadcastnetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Okay, we are back.
We're back.
Oh, no, more news. So, now we're going to be talking about the surprising statement from Russia.
Yes.
Okay?
And it's
the
very
main
interesting.
ally of Maduro regime is Russia.
Yes.
On the border conflict between Venezuela and Colombia. We know that normalization could be promoted through direct contacts between the competent authority, declared the spokeswoman for the Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova. Okay, on Friday, May 14th.
The government of the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, declared itself seriously concerned about the worsening of the armed conflict on the border between Venezuela and Colombia, and declared itself convinced that the normalization of the situation in that region could be promoted through direct contacts between the competent authorities of the two neighboring countries. Remember that the conflict in
We
the
reported
border
3 weeks ago.
Yes,
We
and
reported 4 weeks ago between the Venezuela militaries and fighting with the La FARC.
Okay, but it's a fight among narco-traffickers.
Yeah.
Okay. In a press conference, the spokesperson for the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Maria Zakharova, affirmed that Nicolas Maduro's regime has appealed to the Colombian leaders with initiatives for negotiate solution to the crisis on several occasions, but without success. And she said, "We call on the Colombian authorities to respond with goodwill to the proposal for their Venezuela partners." The problem is that the FARC is not the Colombian government.
No, exactly. They are mixing tomatoes with potatoes.
Yes.
Okay. Did you see they are taking more? They are promoting more Russia as a powerful country in the planet, and they are ignoring United States
And ignoring China.
Who's gonna be serious with United States now having a Biden in power and Kamala Harris? Nobody respects United States anymore. Okay.
Exactly.
Now it's Russia. Now it's Vladimir Putin.
Check what happened in Israel right now.
Well, that's a big mess. Well, Bibi must be missing Trump, right?
Yeah,
That's
but he was the first foreign government to recognize Biden as president when he knows and the Mossad knows that Biden is not my president. Okay, Biden is not my
Something is fishy. Something is
Yes.
going on. Who advised him to recognize Biden? Something I don't know. There is some business going on in there. I don't know. Okay, let's keep going.
Russia is the biggest political and commercial ally of the Maduro regime, with Moscow also being Venezuela's second creditor after China, with some $7.5 billion. Some estimate that in the last 18 years, Russia and Venezuela signed some 300 cooperation agreements. In October 2019, Maduro ratified, together with the Russian Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Borisov, a battery of military cooperation pacts in Caracas. On October 24, 2020, Maduro announced that advisors from Russia, China, Iran, and Cuba will arrive in the country to update its weapon systems and asked the members of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces to be aware and prepare for attacks, which he attributed to the Colombian president Ivan Duque, whom he called a massacre. And last month, Maduro announced the sending of 1,000 militiamen to the border with Colombia and explained that the order is that of war of all people in defense of sovereignty and the land against irregular, criminal and terrorist groups that comes from Colombia. The statement by the Russian government on the alleged call for dialogue by the Chavista regime with the Colombian authorities is surprising, but they did not receive response. Unfortunately, some actors do not look favorably on the Venezuelan authorities' commitment to the peaceful and coherent development on relations and the resolution of disputes through negotiation, said official Maria Zakharova on Thursday. Let me explain you something. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what was the first act of government of Nicolás Maduro?
The first act of government? Yeah. When he took power after Chavez died?
Yes.
I don't remember. I don't know.
The expelling of the Colombian who lived in Venezuela. Do you remember that?
In the border.
In the border.
Yeah, he sent all Colombian back to Venezuela.
To Colombia.
He from Venezuela, he sent it to Colombia. And they were showing how they were carrying the neveras, the refrigerator,
exactly.
the furniture, crossing the river.
And they destroyed the houses.
So they have
like
to go
like
back.
The Nazis.
The Nazis.
Okay, and now you are talking about that this is a criminal act.
That's how communists they deal to each other.
In this context, we are seriously concerned about the worsening of the border between Venezuela and Colombia, where the Venezuelan armed forces have been trying for a few weeks to prevent the entry of illegal armed units and drug trafficking groups. These armed clashes, which have intensified in recent days, have caused many victims. Possibly deterioration of this situation could have very negative consequences for the stability and security of the region, Zakharova added in her statement.
And she added, we know that normalization in the border regions could be promoted through direct contact between the competent authorities of Venezuela and Colombia. The government of Nicolás Maduro has appealed to Colombian leaders with this type of initiative on several occasions, but without success. We call on the Colombian authority to respond with goodwill to the proposal of their Venezuelan partners.
But how can you negotiate with somebody who puts so many negative names on the president of the other country?
I don't know. I think
it's impossible. The politics.
But the conflict is between drug lords down there.
Right now.
No. The conflict back in those days was between Las FARC
and Diosdado Cabello.
Exactly.
The cartel of Los Solos.
That's what I'm
saying.
Exactly. Okay. Why is she talking about the government of Colombia having conflict with Venezuela? Is she saying that the government of Colombia is involved with the drug trafficking too? Is that what she's saying?
She's not saying that, but
that's what I understand.
That she's implying that.
In addition, the spokeswoman for the Putin government questioned President Ivan Duque about the current crisis with the opposition demonstration. There is no doubt that this will be also ultimately serve the interests of Colombia, where public protests have recently increased. We share the alarm expressed by the Organization of American States and Office of the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights, and the USA, the European Union, the United States, and other members of the international community at the disproportionate use of force by the forces Colombian law enforcement officials against protesters, as a result of which dozens of people have died and hundreds have been injured. We hope that this event will be thoroughly investigated and the Colombian authority takes measurement to prevent a repeat of this tragedy, said Zakharova. Yo no sé. I don't know, but let me tell you something. They were trying to create a conflict. They were trying to create a conflict in Colombia. Something is cooking.
Yes.
That they are trying to create this conflict in Colombia and Venezuela. Yes. Everybody get distracted.
Yep.
Okay? And you know what was cooking?
What?
The crisis in Israel.
Yep.
That's what it was cooking. Because now the gas price is going up.
Yep.
Now the food is gonna start. We're gonna start having shortage of food. Okay, the price, the gas price in Texas is almost $6 a gallon.
Okay.
All right. So a crisis in South America will be very good, but much more productive will be a crisis in the Middle East, which we are having it now, because that put the price of the oil high. And who's beneficiary in United States? Having those
oil companies.
And who are the owner of the oil company?
Well,
investigate.
Lincoln Project.
The Lincoln Project.
Okay. Venezuela has at least 20 operational units of the Russian Sukhoi Su-30 fighter bomber, whose characteristics are considered similar to those of the U.S. F-15E Strike Eagle, and anti-aircraft weapons and Russian technology radars. Russia also builds a factory of Kalashnikov, a weapon that the Venezuelan armed force currently use. The Russian agency Interfax points out that the contract of the technical military field between Russia and Venezuela are around $11,000 million. It's about 11 billion.
Okay, let me bring something to you really fast. Have you heard about the corruption of Joe Biden's son Hunter?
Yeah, we've been in that theme.
Do you know that he got the problem with the corruption in Ukraine? And Ukraine is close to Russia?
Yes.
And he was... Okay, and he was having business with the Chinese? Do you know what kind of business he was having with the Chinese?
Energy.
No energy. Weapons. Okay? Okay. So that means that the agency who bought all this information of American weaponry was sold through him to Russia and to China. They have all the information of American, how we are armed ourselves. Okay.
Well, it's the last 30 seconds on the timer, and that is the real dictatorship. Goodbye. See you next week.
Bye.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.